Mind starting the recording, please? Okay, we are recording. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danny Kelly. I'm an account services analyst here with East Bay Community Energy. And today we're going to be giving a brief introduction to East Bay Community Energy. This will be with a business focus and targeted towards our 3 new cities that are joining East Bay Community Energy in April 2021. That's Pleasanton, Newark, and the city of Tracy. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Kelly Brezovic, who will be on the line as well.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone for being here today.
And if you have questions throughout the duration of the presentation, you can either type those in the chat and we will respond to you as they come up, or we'll answer them at the end during our Q&A. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation where you can raise your hand and verbally ask questions as well. So feel free to please ask questions as you may have them. And once again, as I mentioned, this video is being recorded and will be used in the future. So please keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so welcome to the presentation on East Bay Community Energy, your local provider for clean energy. So what is East Bay Community Energy? We are a local agency providing electricity generation for customers in Alameda County and the city of Tracy. We aim to provide electricity at low rates, reinvest earnings back into the community with local energy programs, energy jobs, and clean power projects. So what does that mean and how does that work exactly? As I mentioned, we provide the electricity generation service. So we buy the power on behalf of our customers. PG&E continues to deliver the electricity and charge for delivery service, maintaining the wires and getting that electricity to you. They also continue to send you the bill. So it's a pretty seamless transition for the customer. You still just receive one bill from PG&E. However, what PG&E used to charge you for procuring that electricity power, that source power, EBCE now charges you instead, and PG&E continues to charge you for the delivery service. And this all shows up on the bill as follows. As you can see here, this is a summary page. Typically, this would be page 1 of an electric bill. You can see where you used to maybe just have 2 line items for most customers, electric charges and gas charges. The electric charges have now been split into 2 different charges, electric delivery and electric generation. So as I mentioned, EBCE replaces PG&E's electric generation charges, and PG&E continues to charge you for the electric delivery service. And then if you dig down a little bit deeper into the weeds of your bill, typically, a few pages down, depending on the customer, you can see East Bay Community Energy's charges, where you'll notice your rate option as well as your product option. And we'll get a little bit more into the product options later. But in terms of your rate, EBCE mirrors whatever rate you are on with PG&E, so you don't have to worry about selecting a different rate with East Bay Community Energy. If you change your rate with PG&E, it automatically gets updated with East Bay Community Energy, so it's relatively seamless. But on your East Bay Community Energy page, I did want to call out, if you are on our cost savings option, our Bright Choice option, you can clearly see per month, per billing period, how much you've saved with East Bay Community Energy on that Bright Choice option. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, so let's take a step back and talk about the history of East Bay Community Energy. So what East Bay Community Energy is a CCA, or a community choice aggregator. So we are a joint powers authority. We're essentially a local government organization that has the ability to procure electricity for our customers. Previously in Alameda County, customers had one option, PG&E, the investor-owned utility, to choose their power for them. However, due to California law that dates back to the early 2000s, communities can sort of join together and create their own energy authority as an alternative to the investor-owned utility. So in 2015, Alameda County decided to do just that. In 2017, EBCE was formed as a JPA. And then in 2018 is when East Bay Community Energy actually started serving customers in Alameda County. And now in 2021, we'll continue to serve additional customers. So, most of Alameda County did join originally and began service in 2018. The cities of Pleasanton, Newark, and Tracy joined a little bit later. They joined in 2019 and are now becoming eligible for our service in 2021, in April 2021, which is coming up here. And so one important thing to call out here is that the way the transition will work is it is an automatic enrollment unless a customer specifically takes action to opt out and remain with PG&E. Businesses and residents in Pleasanton, Newark, and Tracy will automatically switch from PG&E's electric generation service to East Bay Community Energies in April 2021. And I'll have more details on what your options are there coming up, but I did want to call out that it is an automatic enrollment. So one thing to keep an eye out for are our notices that we have begun sending. In February this month, we sent physical letters to all customers that are expected to transition to East Bay Community Energy. Then going forward, we will either send you an email or a letter, depending on whether or not we have an accurate email on file for you. So please do keep your eye out. It has some more information about East Bay Community Energy. And it is a great way to notify you of whether or not you're expected to transition to our service. So as I mentioned, East Bay Community Energy began serving most of Alameda County in 2018. The exceptions to that were the cities of Newark, Pleasanton, Tracy, and the island of Alameda. The island of Alameda actually has their own municipal service out there. So we continue to not serve the island of Alameda, but now come April 2021, EBCE will begin serving Newark, Pleasanton, and Tracy. So all of Alameda County, as well as the city of Tracy in San Joaquin County. So what are your options? As I mentioned, while you'll maintain your rate schedule that you were on with PG&E, maybe B1, B10, A1, A10, whatever your electric rate schedule is, you'll maintain that with East Bay Community Energy. However, you do have a few different options for what your power mix is. So that's what I'm referring to here as a product. Customers in Tracy, as well as Newark, will default to our Bright Choice option. That's the option on the far left of your screen there. It offers 1% savings in comparison to PG&E's generation rate, and it's targeted to be about 5% more renewable than PG&E's bundled mix. So a little bit more renewable and a slight savings for you, the customer. Additionally, you have the option to opt up to our other options. And I should mention that for businesses and residents in Pleasanton, unless you're on a CARE or FARA medical baseline, a special discounted rate, Pleasanton customers will default to our Brilliant 100 option. And that option is the exact same price as PG&E's bundled mix, so no financial difference for the customer. And it is 100% carbon-free energy, which includes large hydro as well, which includes large hydro power. So once again, Tracy and Newark will default to our Bright Choice option. Pleasanton, for the most part, will default to our Brilliant 100 option. There's a third option, Renewable 100, which is 100% California wind and solar power. It's priced at a penny more per kilowatt hour than PG&E's bundled mix. And customers have the ability to opt up to that option as well. So no matter what your default option is, you do have the ability to change your option and select whatever option fits best for you. You may change options, each billing cycle. So there's no sort of long-term commitment to any of the options. So feel free to examine our different options and reach out to us for more information, but you do have the choice between any of these three options. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, customers will automatically switch from PG&E's generation to East Bay Community Energy's generation in April 2021. But if you would like to remain with PG&E, you have the ability to opt out and remain with PG&E. You can do that by calling us or going on our website, which is also where you can change between any of these different product options. So where does our power come from? Well, we're buying much of our power in the open market. Currently, we also have long-term power purchasing agreements in place to add more renewable energy to California's electric grid. That is certainly one of our goals here at East Bay Community Energy, is to add more renewables to the electric grid. And to date, we have 9 projects contracted for, 550 plus megawatts of wind and solar, as well as 150 megawatts of battery storage. And we'll continue to look for power projects going forward. We actually just had a ribbon cutting ceremony on our first power project to come online, which is very exciting. So EBCE will continue to add more renewables to the grid as we go on. Additionally, outside of serving you your electricity generation service, our customers are eligible for our programs. So perhaps you've taken advantage in a program through PG&E, which is great, maybe an energy efficiency program or some sort of other energy program. You'll still be eligible for most of those programs, but in addition to that, you'll be eligible for any EBCE offered programs. Currently, for example, we're offering a few residential programs such as a induction cooktop lending program, as well as a program to help customers add solar and battery storage to their homes to help them keep essential appliances powered up when the power grid goes down. So those are the types of programs that you as an EBCE customer will be eligible for. And we'll be launching some commercial programs in the next few years as well. So sort of to summarize a lot of what I just mentioned, what are the benefits? Why has the county, why has your city decided to transition from PG&E's electric generation to East Bay Community Energies? Well, as I mentioned, lower rates. We do have our Bright Choice option, which offers customers a little bit of savings. Local control and investment. East Bay Community Energy is governed by locally elected officials. So you have a representative who was elected by their constituents in your area to represent you, the customer, on your behalf. Our board meetings are open to the public. They function, very similar to public city meetings, and you can come and make your public comment and have your voice heard, which is great. In addition to that, we're committed to reinvesting back into the community. We are not an investor-owned utility. We are a joint powers authority. So our savings and customer programs, it all goes back into the community. We don't pay out shareholders. Sustainability is obviously one of our missions. As I mentioned, we have more power projects coming online, and we'll continue to contract for additional renewables on the grid, as well as offering customers the ability to opt up and choose more renewable power today if they so choose. And leading into that, customer choice and programs, you have additional options available to you now, whether it's the 3 options with EBCE or to opt out and go back to PG&E. You didn't really have that option before. So that's great to have some more customer choice. And then the additional programs that EBCE will continue to develop will be available to you as our customer. And I just wanted to share this as well. Customers are often surprised to see that this model actually exists across California. It's been growing ever since Marin started the first CCA back in 2010. CCAs have popped up all throughout California, and we continue to grow. In fact, a few CCAs just joined together to form a separate joint powers authority. EBCE is one of those, and we now serve over 50% of PG&E's eligible load or load in PG&E service area. So CCAs really are growing. In 2020, we saved our customers $10 million, which is great. And we've saved our customers $20 million since launch in 2018. So what can I do next? Definitely go ahead and read up more about us. This is probably your first time hearing about CCAs, community choice aggregators, or East Bay Community Energy. There's all sorts of information on our website. Feel free to call us or email us, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. You can follow us on social media to stay up to date. We have some great newsletters as well that'll keep you updated. And then definitely go ahead and select whichever product is best for you, because you do have that option available to you. And you can see that at ebce.org/change-my-plan. You can go ahead and do that online or by calling us. And before I head into the Q&A here, I did want to take this opportunity to mention the business time of use rates that will become mandatory next month in March 2021. These rates are becoming mandatory throughout PG&E's territory. And they're essentially shifting the time of use periods for commercial customers. While many commercial customers have already been on a time of use rate, these time buckets are a little bit different than the previous time buckets. And perhaps you weren't on a time of use rate before, and this is sort of a new concept to you. So I'll take a step back in that case. Essentially, the price per kilowatt hour changes throughout the day and the time of year. So as you can see here, there are new seasons, sort of a winter, a spring, and a summer season. And energy becomes most expensive year-round from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So customers are incentivized not to use energy then. That is when energy is in the highest demand typically, and often the least clean. So the state is trying to shift to get customers to use energy when it is cheapest and cleanest. So we have more information available on that, and I'm happy to answer questions about the B rates as well. So please reach out to us if that is of interest to you. Once again, those changes will take place next month, March 2021, for commercial customers. And now we'll head into the Q&A portion. I'm going to change the next slide to give everyone our contact information in case they need that. And at this time, we're happy to answer any questions.
Great, Danny, we did receive one question via the online Q&A chat function, which I think we answered, which was hoping you can talk about time of use and peak and off-peak. Is it correct to assume that there will be no changes under EBCE? I think you answered that question with your slide about the B rates. So any of these rates that you had been on with PG&E, you're going to be on that same rate with EBCE. Just note that your rate will change to the B rate in March, and then in March, and then the next month you'll be with EBCE on that same B rate. So the structure of the rate is the same.
Great, thanks, Kelly. Any other questions at this time? All right, not seeing any. Kelly, do you see any? I can't really see it from my screen here.
No, I don't see anyone with their hand raised. You do have your the contact information here for our call center and for our customer support. We are also able to, the customer support team is able to answer questions in multiple languages as well. I'll just point out. So there's a language line available. So if you have questions in non-English, we're happy to help you on our at our phone number as well.
Great, thank you. Not seeing any other questions. I think we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting. We'll post this publicly on our website so folks can share it if need be. And as mentioned, we're happy to answer questions as they come up. Thanks all.